An SAS veteran has just come out to announce that he was part of a UFO crash retrieval program in the late 1980s, with him recovering with his team a downed non-human craft in northern England. And this supports recent US whistleblower claims of a secret UFO crash retrieval program. This is huge news, absolutely huge, with now, we've got no choice but to kind of really look at this, because obviously we've got David Grush saying, 6 months ago, there's a crash retrieval program. The Pentagon then saying, no, there's not a crash retrieval program. And then there being evidence of crash retrieval programs, and now an SAS veteran literally coming out and speaking to the Daily Mail saying, look, back in the 1980s, me and the boys, we went and retrieved some downed aircraft of non-human origin. So this blows everything out of the water. But I can't take credit for finding this. This actually came to my attention from a TikTok page that I follow that deserves a hell of a lot more credit than it's got. And it comes from the TikTok page Daniel Knightley. You'll see it on your screens right now. Absolutely criminal that this guy's only got 4,800 followers, because the videos that he puts out are so up to the minute, on all things alien crafts and the big breaking stories. So if you haven't already, I'll leave a link to his TikTok page down below. Go and follow him, because he deserves so much more credit. But we're going to take a look at his kind of brief video, just to give him, that exposure, that credit that he deserves. And then we're going to take a look at the Daily Mail's kind of scoop on it, because this is absolutely huge stuff. So let's take a look at this first.
What's up, guys? We have a cracker today. Finally, someone with a pair of balls has decided to come forwards on this issue. Right, so we've seen what's happened with the recent statement by the intelligence community and the DoD on releasing their first volume 1 of what they know about UFOs, and most people know it to be bogus and bollocks. It's a load of rubbish, they're lying, and basically don't bite down on that, because no one's biting down on it. A lot of people are coming forward saying this is nonsense, and all they're doing is rattling the cage further by enraging people that are wanting to come forward to disclose what's truly going on. However, we owe today's video to a Frank Milburn, who I believe was in the Special Forces unit back in the 1980s and 1990s, that has just divulged to Daily Mail that he was involved in a crash retrieval program that worked with JSOC and a bunch of other Tier 1 forces such as SEAL Team 6 and the CIA's equivalent of that for special operations, SAS and various other Tier 1 units across the world, in a crash retrieval program that involved securing a location of a crash craft in the north of England. So he's doing this because to support whistleblowers in the US. That's apparently his reason for doing so.
Now that's absolutely incredible that he's come forward to kind of be like, look, these people aren't crazy, they aren't lying to you, like, we've done this as well. I've been there when these things have happened, like they're telling the truth. This is the kind of thing that we need within this community, where, people, instead of being like pointing the finger and being like, you're crazy because you're blowing the whistle, instead being like, I support you, here's my claims, here's my experiences, X, Y, and
Z. I'm not going to get too much into detail. There's a lot to read from this. It's literally just come hot off the plate. And so, yeah, this is good. This is what we want. We want someone similar to David Grush disclosing information about what's going on in this area. They are not putting the toothpaste back in the bottle here. It's going to keep coming out. They've opened Pandora's box now. We're not going to let this slide, guys. We're not going to let this slide. This is the most up-to-date information from a new whistleblower. His name is Frank Milburn. Take a look on Daily Mail for more information on this. He is saying, I don't know if it was him or someone he knows of that was working SAS, that were tasked with securing a location of a downed craft by the Royal Air Force, and they said to go and secure the location. They clearly said in this paragraph that they knew it was not human immediately. They knew instantaneously it wasn't human. They also knew that whoever was in there, they already fled the scene. So they had evidence that whatever was in there had fled the scene already. This is hot off the stove, guys. Take a look. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'll keep this short and sweet. But we've got to keep this narrative alive. And I honestly, we all have to share this information. We must keep everyone aware of what's going on this, because the US government is making a concerted effort to stop people finding out about this information. They do not want to divulge reality. They've been keeping this hidden, as I said to you before in other previous videos, for 7+ decades. They don't want this out the bag. It's too late. Everybody knows. Let's keep it alive.
And that's why I love this guy, because he's just like in your face. He's like, nah, They want to kill this. No, don't let it happen. And, you know, like I said, please go and follow him if you want to be keeping up to date with some, like, you know, the real information surrounding UFOs and stuff. Daniel Knightley, link down below. So, with that said, we're going to kind of dive into the Mail Online, which has got the full disclosure and all the rest of it. You know, it's the Daily Mail. Take it with a pinch of salt, obviously, but, you know, to be fair, this is his words, so they haven't really misconstrued it. It's just his words, and it was the Daily Mail that ended up getting the scoop. So, obviously, British Special Forces recovered a downed non-human craft in the northern England in the late 1980s, a former UK paratrooper and military intelligence officer claims. Frank Milburn, the veteran of the British Army's elite parachute regiment, tells thedailymail.com that he's spoken with a member of the MI6 run unit that conducted the alleged operation. Milburn said that he's also spoken to the UK Royal Air Force crew who chased and fired a pair of disc-shaped UFOs that travelled at hypersonic speeds, outstripping their fighter jets. So there you go. There's a bit of backstory about who was involved, why they were involved, and what made this so clearly non-human. Milburn refused to reveal the identity of his former elite comrade, citing security and his desire to remain anonymous. DailyMail.com will refer to him as using the alias John. So if you hear John, it's his comrade. Anyway, but in an exclusive interview with thedailymail.com, Milburn divulged an eye-popping detail, the story that told him by his ex-Special Forces friend, and both had left the army, saying that he wanted to support recent US whistleblowers' claims of a secret UFO crash retrieval program, so David Grush basically. So, this map right here is a now declassified 2000s UK Defence Intelligence Staff report obtained by thedailymail.com, states that the existence of unexplained aerial phenomena, UAP, is indisputable, and it included a scatter plot pictured of UAP reports across the UK between 1987 and 1991. So you can kind of see all of these little dots are where UAPs have been sighted. Now, something to bear in mind with these is obviously I covered one of these that NASA released about a month ago, I want to say. Obviously, the denser the population, the more sightings on average. That was kind of the trend that you're seeing, and you can see it again here with London around here. Loads of sightings around London. You've got Birmingham around here, loads of sightings around Birmingham, Manchester, and then up here you've kind of got the Northumberland area, Newcastle City. You've got Liverpool around here as well somewhere. You know, basically the denser populated cities have got more sightings, and it's just down to population. You know, obviously in the kind of more scattered areas like Norfolk and Lancashire and stuff like that, you know, it's a bit more scattered about. So bear that in mind, but very, very interesting stuff nonetheless. Anyway, Milburn said that in the 1980s, John worked for a reported secret unit now known as the E Squadron, which specialised in covert, clandestine, and that was really hard to get out. Paramilitary operations. I don't know why that was so difficult. E Squadron, previously called the Increment, recruited the most experienced and reliable operators from the UK Special Forces units, the Special Air Service, SAS, Special Boat Service, SBS, and Special Reconnaissance Regiment, SRR. The US equivalent to the E Squadron is the CIA Special Operations Group and Joint Special Operations Command, staffed from Tier 1 units including Delta Force and SEAL Team 6. So some very, very reputable, high-ranking teams. Very off-the-books, hush-hush kind of teams as well. Like, you know, you don't often hear about their operations. Milburn said John served in the 1982 Falklands War and on numerous high-risk missions around the world, but one of the most disturbing was his home country in the late 1980s. Quote, he told me they were deployed in a troop-sized unit, maybe 20 to 30 Special Forces operators, Milburn said. They'd been told by the RAF that a craft which wasn't Russian, British, or American had been downed. He said that they were tasked to secure and retrieve the craft in the north of England. They were flown in by helicopter, they established a cordon, a perimeter, and they approached the craft. He didn't describe the craft. He just said it was obvious it was not human. and was obvious that there were occupants who had fled the scene on foot, or whatever you call it. He said that it became a task of tracking down these beings to try and bring them into custody. Part of the unit was left protecting the craft. They would have left 6 to 8 blokes to cordon off the craft, and the others would have been on foot, quad bikes or 4x4s trying to track down these entities that escaped from it, with helicopters supporting. He said that after it was totally passed over, he said scientists and technicians came in and it was completely out of our hands. We were flown away by helicopter and we knew nothing more after that. So this is the unclassified document that kind of talks about it. So we've got an executive summary. This volume primarily deals with sensitive matters and associated with UAP study, which could not be placed in the restricted executive summary. Much of the work reported in this third volume is inevitably byproduct of the main TORs. The main topics here are. So we've got some redacted statement here, the first part is the potential collision threats posed by UAP events to aircraft flying in the UK ADR. A redacted section here, whether anything in context of potential current or future military interests can be learnt from an understanding of the phenomena. So then you go on to have a collision risk, possibility of collision with a solid object that almost certainly can be discounted. Possible of encountering a UAP suddenly in low altitudes cannot be totally ignored, but the probability of doing so must be extremely low. If a UAP is encountered suddenly when flying fast and low, it could be I can't see what that word says. That a sudden or irrecoverable crew control input might result in a surface impact accident. It's not very clear. And then you've got section 4 here, which has also been redacted. And then going through these are Milburn's pictures, so credibility that he was actually part of these task forces and stuff like this, so he's truly who he says he is. Milburn said John declined to give him further details and did not provide any proof for this wide tale, but the ex-paratrooper said he trusted the word of his ex-comrade after vetting him with other SAS veterans. I believe him 100%. I worked with the bloke in Civvy Street, post-military work. This is a true blue paratrooper. I spoke to former SAS and paratrooper mates of his. We're talking about a guy who fought bravely in the Falklands in some of the most brutal engagements, he added. This is not the kind of guy who gives Fs around or talks shit, basically. So, it goes on to kind of have a much, much greater spiel that kind of goes into a bit more detail about the other instances and stuff like this. But, this is deep stuff. Basically, whenever you think of downcraft, you always think of the US because it's always the US whistleblowers. Not typically have we had a UK whistleblower come forward and be like talking about UFOs. It's very kind of hush-hush, no one ever really kinds of talk about it. But this is insane stuff. And like Daniel said in his TikTok, this is just the beginning. This is kind of a huge stepping stone for other people to kind of look at this and be like, wow, if Frank Milburn can come forward, I can also come forward. Because I guarantee that this is not the only downed craft thing that we've had experience in the UK especially, but especially the US as well, and maybe even other parts of the world. I'm thinking like Russia or some places in Asia or, places down in Africa, other parts of Europe, even South America, where, it's very, very well documented UFO sightings, especially around Brazil, Colombia, Argentina as well, places like this. So I guarantee that this won't be the last. Hopefully this is the kind of example set for people to come forward and speak their truth about what's been going on, what they've experienced, what they've had to do, or if they know someone who's also gone through this. Unfortunately, there's no way of really kind of vetting the person that came forwards you know, the guy that went by the name John as an alias, because, well, we don't know who it is, first of all. We've just got Frank's word to take on it, but, you know, it's a step in the right direction. And like Daniel said, the Pandora's box is well and truly open. This is just going to cause headaches for the government, which rightfully so. They've tried to cover this up for long enough, and I think now we're going to be in a position where more and more people are going to step forward and be like, this is my truth, this is what I did, this is what I've seen, this is what I've had go on, da 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 da. And hopefully we get far more insight into not just this case. Maybe there might be more details come forward after this. If we put on enough pressure, there might be more details kind of leaked about this specific case, but also other cases that have gone on in history around the globe. But what do you make of this? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Can't wait to see what you guys have to say about this. I even bumped a video that was edited and everything by a professional editor just so I could release this for you guys. So you can probably tell that I've edited it because it's a pile of shit compared to the other videos that come out. But I bumped all those off. I was like, no, this needs to come out. This is hot stuff. So yeah, I'm excited about this. But remember, go and check out Daniel over on TikTok. Daniel Knightley. Knightley spelled Knightly. Like Keira Knightley, but not. Actually, no, Keira Knightley's without the E. Forget I just said that. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Be sure to jump scare the hell out of that like button if you have not already. Subscribe if you're new and tick on my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload. And until next time, I hope that you guys have enjoyed. Can't wait to see you in the next one, and I'll speak to you later. Peace.